head, but I'm not very sure. Anyway,
Yeah.
the COVID stuff is interesting. That it's staging some sort of comeback. I'm sure these riots and protests are a great
Good
way
for
for
it.
it to spread,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, they're starting a lot of fires, and I think that's probably good at killing the virus. And the police seem to be spraying a lot of pepper spray, and I think maybe that's probably
It might be Lysol. You don't know.
that would be funny. Actually, the cops are being such pieces of shit. The people are literally there protesting police brutality, and the cops are like, "I know what we should do. We should be brutal."
They took the Beverly Woodworth, you think you're crying, I'll give you something to cry about approach.
Yeah, yeah, and they're gonna brutalize their way right out of a fucking job, and I'm thrilled,
Dude,
thrilled.
have you seen the people like, I put my badge on there, gave them my gun, and walked out the door. Told them, you're probably a Democrat pussy. Or this place is a bunch of Democrat pussies. And it's like, it sounds like it's really great that you left.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with them restraining your police brutality, please retire.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll find a wonderful job in either the food service industry or the retail environment.
Well, maybe there's something better suited for him. Maybe he should be a mercenary in freaking Afghanistan or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they shoot back over there.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm more than fine with that. Yeah, I'm glad. I saw a little bit of that bill that they're trying to push through, and one of the things they're trying to eliminate is no-knock warrants. Would love that.
What is that?
Yeah, tell me more about the bill and who's pushing it.
The Democrats have a bill, a law enforcement bill. That's lots of sweeping changes for law enforcement protocols and policing tactics. And one of them, the one that stuck out to me, the thing I read about was eliminating no-knock warrants.
Huh.
What's a no-knock warrant?
That's when I have a warrant to come search your home or come arrest someone who's in your home, and I just like storm your house. I don't knock and give you a chance to give that person up or turn yourself in or let me in a reasonable manner and say, "Sorry, I have a search warrant." Like in the movies, I have a search warrant.
Yeah,
we need to look over the premises. It's more like a Die Hard movie where they just like swing in through the fucking door with battering rams and a whole SWAT team moves into the house. And there's been several instances of police getting either the wrong house or a house where it's the right house, but that guy's not even there. In fact, he's already in custody at a sheriff's department. They go in, the homeowner defends himself, they murder the homeowner, and then the surviving homeowner is then charged with attempted murder for defending his home against men storming into it. Yeah, that's what happened.
Taylor, you probably know this one. So there was a woman who was murdered. It wasn't swatting, no. So they had a warrant. Kyle just laid it out pretty well. They had a warrant to go in and get someone. That particular person they were after, I think, was already in custody or in jail somewhere else. All right. But the two people that are in the house, they're, committed a relationship of some sort. They bust in. They don't announce themselves as police like you'd expect them to. The dude takes out a gun, starts shooting, doesn't hit anyone. The police kill the woman. Christ. And now the guy who shot at the police, but they had no walk warrant, busted in the house, looked like a bad situation. They're charging the living guy with attempted murder. And it's all based on the police busting through, and the guy wasn't even there.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they never
solution.
That's where I'm stuck too. Can I go on for a little second?
Yeah.
I'm cautious about stripping the police of some of the tools that they have, right? I wrote on my Facebook, and you can maybe enlighten me, that I wasn't against chokeholds. Because following the method of, if you're against something, you have to be for something better, right? So let's say the primary tool I'd want them to use is soothing voices, right? Nurses in every hospital everywhere use soothing voices to calm down belligerent or unreasonable patients all the time instead of breaking out batons and shit, right? And I feel like the videos I see of European police start off that way, and they have a lot of success with just calm down. This isn't a situation. Getting violent here is just going to make everything worse for everyone involved, instead of just being fucking bully alpha from the get-go, right? That is an escalation technique. It leads to more. So let's say tool 1 is soothing voices, but you're dealing with people who have a huge incentive to get away, right? Maybe you've got me on a murder charge. And what happens if I respond to your soothing voice like you want me to is terrible. I'm going to jail for 15 years, 18 years, the rest of my life. You know what? This is my opportunity to book it, or maybe kill you and book it. I don't know. You already got me on one murder. Like, there are people they're dealing with that are super bad. So they're not going to respond to soothing voices. Let's all agree that happens to police sometimes.
Of course.
What do you want to use? Taser? Maybe that's better. I'm open to that idea. In my observation and whatever experience, taser's really bad while you're getting tased, and then you're not tased and you're instantly okay again. Now, sometimes the threat of the next tase is enough to be like, dude, I don't want that anymore. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I've seen guys get tased and just shake it off, or maybe only one of the prongs hits, or like, I guess I'm just like, all right, then we have batons and guns. I prefer chokeholds over batons and guns. It's my little bit of fighting experience. Like, I've been choked and given chokes so many times. It's basically fine. I know a guy just died, and I know other guys have died, but those are alpha bully dickhead cops who held it for 6 minutes. If you're just trying to get the cuffs on the guy and you have the right attitude, then I take a choke over a baton every time. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to be educated. If we take away no-knock warrants, actually 15 seconds, no-knock warrants, what if that allows me to dispose of the evidence or prepare for your entrance in a violent way? No-knock warrants, the question is, do they solve more problems or create more problems? And I'm open to...
That's really what it comes down to. You're right. Because, like, you have to be a fucking retard to not be like, oh, well, the police have to announce themselves when they're showing up to a known gang hangout and there's a bunch of people in there, that could harm both the gang members and the police by letting bullets fly when otherwise maybe it didn't have to. A little bit of a stalemate. But then also it's like, so you're going to let this guy storm into some random motherfucker's house or apartment because you got a wild hair up your ass or a little, turns out to not be that verifiable tip. Like that, it is risky.
Yeah,
and I am on Kyle's team of like, I understand totally what you're saying, Woody, but like, if anything, cops have too much leeway to do whatever the fuck they want right now.
Policing's a hard job, and it should be a hard job. And they've made it so easy for themselves and so safe for themselves that a lot of people who are completely unqualified to do it feel like they can do it, and they do it. And we see the results of that. It should be a hard job. It should be a dangerous job.
How do we
only
fix that,
people who are capable and qualified to do that job while serving a community, which is their primary role, should be doing that fucking job. You don't want a bunch of Billy badasses with all tatted up with like kill them all written on their fucking gun and nonsense like that. I ran into so many of those nonsensical maniacs in the gun community. And it's fine if you want to cosplay as like a space marine in your backyard. But when we put you in a fucking police car to serve the community and you're riding around like Billy Badass, wearing your utility belt like Batman, being a professional bully, you need to be wiped out. You need to be gone. You don't need to be doing this job. You're not about serving the community. We've seen endless video examples of what these people are really like. It's a job that draws bullies. It's a job that draws people who crave a little bit of power, a modicum of control over their fellow man. They don't see those protesters as fellow citizens. They see them as, oh, I get to hurt somebody today. You see the excitement in their eyes when they get to pull out their gear and use it. Oh, this is what we train for. It's like that meme. They're so glad to be able to go out there and beat up somebody with a stick or spray somebody in the face. They're sadistic. They're literally the definition of sadists in so many situations that we see them doing this stuff. And they can say, oh, not all cops are like that. All the cops I fucking see on TV are like that. Like, the camera doesn't lie. I'm watching it. And the whole thin blue line nonsense where all these, they're all in it together. You don't rat on another cop. You all hold together. You see it in practice and in principle.
That's fucking true.
Because
shit.
You see, as soon as one cop starts beating the shit out of a guy who's just sitting on a bicycle, like with his legs on the ground, but sitting on the seat, completely non-aggressive. And one guy starts clubbing him, and 3 more immediately jump in. Oh, we got a guy we can club? Let's all club him, because it's harder to get 4 guys in trouble than it is 1. What are they going to do? Fire us all? Yeah, they should fire them all. As far as no-knock warrants go, if you're too much of a pussy to knock on the door, you shouldn't be doing the fucking job. If you can't knock on the fucking door, if there's a house in your community so goddamn dangerous that you're afraid to knock on the door, you've been failing at your job systemically.
What if the reason they're not knocking is that I can get rid of the evidence?
Then we lose that case.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. As long as like mothers and children aren't murdered in their homes in front of one another.
It's a strong point. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, what's the greater good? You know, for bad guys to get off.
I think
I would rather more bad guys get off than innocent people be
That's
harmed.
where I'm coming to. I hear you.
It's kind of like, it's at a place where it's so
even though that's almost like topsy-turvy.
I mean, what's
if a bad guy does get off, it might harm another innocent person.
Name a hypothetical where we care if they get rid of the evidence, because like I'm imagining evidence to be drugs that can be flushed.
Yeah,
I don't care about drug enforcement anyway. It's nonsense. Like I don't care. I don't care if they're selling fucking heroin to children in there. How much heroin?
I mean, you don't want that.
No, I don't care. I don't care. If your kid likes smack, he should have some smack. All right,
that's a bridge too far.
You have heroin, just not heroin with kids.
I feel like Taylor's ageist in his smack
you got
distribution.
Heroin, man.
we were correctly, I think,
a little heroin.
Kyle, myself, and Woody reprimanded by John McAfee that we've never even done heroin.
All those pussies.
He called it. Do you know that, Harley? Do you know who John McAfee is?
The man challenged me to a duel.
Before the show even started, he and Kyle were talking about having a duel led by John McAfee, let me be clear. And then he called all of us pussies and basically prudes for not having dabbled in heroin.
Taylor's like, I'm often referred to as a square. I don't know who was the greatest reply.
That guy's a fucking hoot.
So I'm trying to balance the realities of you can't completely neuter police because they do deal with a bad group of guys, right? But my good, like, if what came out of this was, hey, 2 things. 1, body cams all the fucking time. Turn off your body cam, lose your job. Just fuck you. The rest of us all deal in a surveillance world. Every cashier is like, look, I need a little privacy while I do cashier. Fuck it, they don't do that. Body cams, police, all the time. We want to see what you're doing. 2, get that thin blue line culture bullshit to go away. The idea that my partner can commit crimes of brutality, I hear you, and that just being like an entrenched part of police culture and okay, those 2 things. Operating in this like secrecy and them not snitching on each other.
Yeah, it's the way shitty people in any industry act. Like, do you think finance guys on Wall Street who are doing insider training are going to rat each other out? No, they got their own little inculcated group of people who lie and they make billions of dollars together. That's what they do.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a private industry and a public service. And especially when the public service involves the public funding them to be a private army, essentially.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying that is something that exists within any insular industry, whether it's police,
what you need is middle management,
whether it's whatever.
You need middle management coming in and cleaning house. I don't remember the specifics, but I remember listening to this podcast, or maybe it was NPR. I think it was NPR about this issue with the fire departments in where's that place that Quebble Cop's from? Netherlands.
Yeah.
And there was this there was extreme racism in the fire departments and sexism, and they brought this guy
in the Netherlands. They're all white.
Not all of them. Oh. And there was extreme racism and extreme sexism within the fire department, and there was a thin red line, let's call it, where they were they treated the fire department like their own private hangout. And they did terrible things, and they committed crimes. And this guy came in and was like, "No, you're not going to do that anymore."
What kind of terrible things? What kind of shit do firefighters do? I've never heard anybody.
I'm picturing sexual assault in the firehouse. Am I on target?
Like extreme sexual harassment.
And not firing or not hiring women, who are they assaulting?
It was extreme. No, there were women. There was extreme sexual harassment. There was the way that they would mess with the hours so that they were all getting enormous amounts of overtime while they were basically just chilling and like making chili and stuff and hanging out in the clubhouse. In the end, though, it took this guy coming in and spending well over a year in just one district, just firing people, just firing them.
This is just boys being boys, having fun, making chili with the lads. This is what they're doing.
It was extreme racism. But no, that's what needs to be done with these cops. Like everybody acts like you can't fire a fucking cop. Fire them all. Fire an entire police department. Wipe them all out from the lowest ranking noob to the fucking chief of police.
Well, don't fuck up the noob. He just started. That's not nice.
He's been contaminated.
No, he's, you know what?
The training that they get is like 22 fucking weeks, dude. It's like 22 fucking weeks to become a cop. That's nonsense.
I've heard about what they did in Camden from 2 liberal sources. So I'm cautious about it. I mentioned that because one was John Oliver and one was CNN. So I want to hear the Fox News take on it to feel like I get a rounded view. So I put that out there. Anyway, what they did is they fired every cop and then they made them reapply for their own jobs and sort of fix the culture. And not every cop got the job. They took some of the money and put it towards social programs, and which you could argue is like towards prevention instead of like cure afterwards. And apparently it's been great. I'm sorry, Taylor.
How's like, is crime up? Is crime down? Like, did they
crime is down, but what's dramatically down is like police brutality claims and stuff like that. So that's been like their major area.
Cops make crime go up. They have to justify their presence there. So they make all sorts. So they make it's just like speeding ticket.
Yeah.
It's just like with speeding tickets, right? They've got a quota. Oh, well, if we don't write 500 tickets this month, then they'll fire one of us. They won't need 20 officers if we're not writing 500 tickets.
But isn't that also indicative of the purpose of? So, like, for example, if there's a very dangerous neighborhood in Camden, for example, and no police are there, just like in The Wire, where they find that nice little neighborhood and they let all the crime happen there. Crime hasn't actually gone down; it's just been displaced. Anywhere you put more police, Amsterdam, exactly. Anywhere you put more police is probably going to detect most of the crime that's there because of just the saturation level, right? And
sure, but also,
that makes sense.
Also, just small nonsensical drug enforcement is just drumming. It is so much of their attention.
We're all against that fucking bullshit.
It's so much of their attention. When I was telling my dad about this the other day. Like I don't really have any use for the police. I don't have any use for them. I can't imagine the scenario that would happen in which they would come and save me.
When someone steals your car, who's gonna not find it?
They are not going to.
Kyle, when someone who's gonna shoot your dog?
Well, not me.
Who's gonna kill little Fozzie and Teddy? Dude, I saw some fucking. First of all, I saw one video today on Twitter that boiled my blood. It was like in China somewhere, and they like have a pit with a bunch of pigs they want to get rid of, and they tip a bunch of flammable liquid onto all the pigs in this pit. It's like 2 dozen pigs. Then they light them on fire, and you get to see these pigs running around burning to death. That was horrific.
Who sent you that?
Yeah, I want to see.
I saw it. I just saw it on Twitter. I follow
How
a bunch
did
of fucking
you see
weird
it?
accounts. I follow so many weird accounts because that's where you see the good shit.
Might want to unfollow the pig burner.
No, they got good shit. They got pig. Where else am I going to find pig burning? Nowhere.
As crazy as I like to have some content that really makes me go, oh fuck, and that seems like a good piece of that. It's like those times where I find myself like on Live Leak or other crazy sites. I'm like, oh no, what are we doing here?
Do you ever go to eFucked?
Of course.
Oh,
there you go. Okay.
Harley, are you in Canada or US right now?
I'm in Toronto, Canada right now.
Is the US brutality police riots a major story in Canada?
Yeah, it's monstrous. I mean, for me, like I remember life events. A life event was like 9/11, where it's like, whoa, monumental. Y2K was another monumental event. Corona, that's a monumental event. But now George Floyd is a monumental event. So close and on the heels of another monumental event in my life, in everyone's lives, like in society today, that like it's like the perfect storm and now
Well,
everyone's in such close contact, and it's crazy. And like, yeah, here in Canada, like everyone's keeping up to date. You know,
It seems like the protest stuff is on a downturn right now.
Can you
and
say the
that-
beginning again, Taylor? I didn't hear.
It seems like any riots, any protests, it seems like that's almost on the downturn now, and that Corona is coming back up as the big story. Like, and there are, I just saw today from Missouri, I'm not sure elsewhere, that coronavirus rates are ticking up again, and that's to be expected with when you have like. Can you imagine a worse time to have mass protests with people standing shoulder to shoulder than during a mass pandemic, a global pandemic?
Yeah,
like if we, I hope we don't see a bunch more cases. But if we don't see a bunch more cases, what are we supposed to think about all this? Were we hoodwinked? Were we fooled a little bit about the severity of it? Or if we do see a huge uptick in it, like it kind of confirms what I think the three of us are on. This shit's real and it's a problem.
I think it could be both at the same time. Like I don't think we were necessarily hoodwinked if there aren't uptick. Isn't an uptick. It could just be that some people have developed antibodies, as well as so many people are wearing masks now and gloves. Like everywhere I go, people are wearing masks and gloves. Just about
have you seen
everywhere.
the studies though about like how masks? Most of those masks, like those blue bullshit masks, that's really not doing shit for most people. Like you need the respirator kind of mask with the air filtration system to really.
It may not be as effective, but from what I understand, like
these motherfuckers have their noses out. How many people have I seen with their noses out?
Come on, Taylor. That's like 1 in 20, right?
No.
Oh,
I
no?
go to the hospital every month, and they give me a blue mask when I get there. And as far as the effectiveness of it, I know that for sure that like a lot of viruses that are spread airborne style, it's about like the particulates of like liquid that are coming out of your mouth when you exhale, and it's got to be catching like an enormous amount of that. So while they may not be 100% effective or as good as the N65 or M65, whatever it's called, definitely better than the mouth breathers that we'd be around without them. Like I feel perfectly fine standing in line in the hospital at the pharmacy every month.
Yeah, I think it's my understanding that it's about everything Kyle said. It's about me not projecting this like humid air in the back. So it kind of catches that, and then whatever does come out the sides and stuff is not being broadcast to everyone else rebreathing my air.
You get a real good idea of your bad breath odor to go back to the Smart Mouth ad when you're wearing a mask, though. I'll tell you what, I did not use my Smart Mouth the other morning. Went all the way to the hospital to pick up some meds, got that mask on, and I breathed out through my mouth and in through my nose, and I was like, ooh, oh God.
Oh, I'm smelling foul.
It was like if you ever fart in the car and it's just god awful, and you're just like go to roll the window down, and you're like, you know what? That is bad, isn't it? Kind of like a rotten egg kind of thing, but there's something spicy right on the end. There's something. It's like a deviled egg.